Right. And, many people actually have their core belief systems. They're very static in their lives where, they go through their life, their daily life, and they have certain beliefs and they stick with those. And so that what they see in their life is just the reflection of what it is that they're thinking about. And they're creating their own external life because of what's going on internally with themselves. And so we look at, the miracle from within, as you're saying, that, people's patterns and thoughts and things that come about. It could be some of it with spiritual codes. It could be, it seems so intricate. It seems like there's so many different processes that affect us being here. And so how would you say that people can make adjustments at this time in their lives?
I think there is such a hurry for Father and higher intellect to assist all of us that I'm not hateful towards people who don't know anything about love. I think at this point, and being professional, I need to make sure that people don't struggle. Struggle is not allowed. And that's my love pursuit, to give people freedom from struggle, whatever they believe in. Just please don't struggle. Desire doesn't go into effect. It's a plea, but again, not a bargain with me. What I do get in cases like that, a direct command from him: surrender them. But I just assist.
Yes, it's so beautiful the way you just said that, because, when people struggle in life and they cause more resistance, so they keep going down that path of struggle and they keep recreating that. Whereas, like the flow, we talked about being in flow. It's like going down the river, you're fighting it. And, to get back on track, when you go into the flow, it's almost like releasing the oars somehow, but having some guidance, so that way that you are guided through this journey. Can you speak more about that?
Yeah, they become discoordinated. There's a court, in accordance to his willingness to assist us, he'll take a person at any point. But it doesn't mean that I will stay in that discussion with God. He trained me as a vehicle. So that's why I started placebo and constanta. Constanta, when a person gives their heart, but knows that God has that vehicle or instrument. And there were discussions between God and me in regards to, I didn't like to be a vehicle. I said instrument is fine with me, and we're kind of jokingly we're establishing that territory with him, because it's a little bit of trauma to the ego to know that your heart doesn't, because there are pathways between ego and heart. He tenderly taught me about that part. Being a prophet is very promising to anybody. I would say any heart needs to know him. You know the truth from that point. You can resist nothing after that. And again, it's future psychology, if we want to call it psychology. But it can be a conversation within 40 seconds and you're done. This is what I've accomplished with other people. I can go on a mute. And like Genome came to me and it flew between God, our creator, and you. You didn't have to do anything, right?
Right. It happened within seconds.
Seconds, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's a switch. So that I'm not belittling people. I was just like that, unaware that it's reasonably possible. I wouldn't believe if I was sitting reversed, you and me talking, I wouldn't believe. So he chose to give you experience. So maybe because you wanted to know for years, maybe it's a small gesture on his part for continuing to participate. I don't know. I will not deliver that thought, but I didn't ask.
Right, and this is a subtle change, and
beautiful change.
And it's beautiful because when you even have a shift, or even a no matter how big or small the shift is, that you're seeing these transformational frequencies or energies, however you want to call it, that they do exist. And we could feel that. When people go within, like meditation, it takes you to different levels and you have different experiences. And everyone can experience it. And it's just better to have your own experience than for someone to actually describe it to you what it really is. So it's recommended then for people to, check it out for themselves.
Well, when it comes to love, there is smoothness. There is no disturbance. We at length talked about psychology, how wrong it is. It's a raw, hard mess. Somebody smooshes and ask it to forgive, to forget, maybe a little bit of let go, but there's no way to let go without him.
Right. And, people talk about forgiveness. They talk about, letting things go, because the only person you're really hurting is yourself. You're the one that this story, you created the story to happen in the first place, and you draw things to you to happen. You draw events, you draw people, but it's a matter of, are you going to take that story on for yourself? Or can you just listen to someone else's story and not feel that, so that you take on those types of emotions and you could just be in that flow?
He taught me not to let go voluntarily. Presently, I'm not going to discuss it. It's too courageous to do it, and you spend your life on that. Again, seconds, you're in a different pattern. But patterns, what we need to discuss. That's a new way. That's everything that's protective of you and who you need to become. Just go on with your life. But go on with your life is what he wants, because life is sacred. Light is not sacred. So them asking, Freud is smiling at me, to do something is not coherent with love. Don't do anything. Just let me stabilize and give and accept. And it flows in at the point of your anticipation. And that's all that there is. Anticipation needs to be clean. So as a professional, I need to make sure the person is ready and look into person's eyes and kind of and you said, and gentle. Tender loving is what God loves to do with me. That's the only pathway I believe in. I think it's time to begin on that level. It's the most humanly possible, positively, not influenced, but gifted level, and the rest of history, the rest of him. The rest is nothing we need to know. The rest is just love, and truly is love. Many people already walking that pathway. It's been established.
And it's such a gift. It's really just wonderful that you think about the frequency of love and helping someone to connect to that, so that they're seeing something that will, have a shift inside themselves. Because people, I think, they're looking for something greater. They're looking for something bigger.
That's actually what you experienced. Pi is frequency of love, is 3. Okay. Pi is what you experienced. What it did within you, transcendency, that experience of warmth and welcoming that you felt internally, was also connections within your body that severed themselves, or maybe didn't establish themselves yet, because you're still young enough that you, ahead of yourself, needed to establish them. He did it for you. So the warmth, that was his desire to give you that internal fire, and that internal fire is actually warming up your heart, your vessels. Your mind doesn't need to participate. It's his connect with your soul. So your soul began before you even became aware. You just became warm, right? But I truly knew what he was giving you. I'm love connect, prism of love, all those pathways that medicine doesn't even know. Humanity needs to listen. It's velocity of love that will be self-healing for many. It's many points to make about we can become healthy within minutes. Nothing needs to be triggered into much more thinking. But I established a lot of that rational thought process with Father to do it on auto. Back to autoimmunity. It's so powerful. It belongs to the future. It truly is the gift if we speak about gifts. He has small gifts. He has welcoming gifts. He has health, and health is poor. And medicine is ugly. We shouldn't take any.
It is really a wonderful thing that how the body, talks to us. It's like when you mentioned that I had the response to it and what it meant, that to feel that heat. And so is my body letting me know that there was that change. Mm-hmm. And so that is possible to do that in just a few seconds. So that in and of itself shows me and can show other people as well, everyone, that they can do this, that everyone can experience it. Can anyone experience what just happened?
Absolutely. You, by the way, I need to mention, Mother is asking me to please explain to you that you went on an unconscious level. You just broke into the heat, and you felt something. So that communication was established between your soul, your heart, and your nerve. And you extended yourself. Okay, I'm taking my shoes off. Okay, and he kicked me in and said, okay, she's going through the protocol. He says it's a protocol of welcoming. So it's not a ritual by no means, of course. And I had to make sure that you're more coherent about this. Why? Because I wanted you to progress more and give you the freedom that you felt after that. You took that spiritual breath of letting him do his work. And I mentioned to you immediately, you see that breath and its constant presence in people when I work with him. It's a powerful part of unknown that an aura, that is a spiritual breath. He became one with your soul.
And so we can take this spiritual breath many times. We can connect to this many times a day, if we so choose, and that will also raise us up where, to another conscious level or unconscious level.
Loving person. Just becoming a loving person, because he says we're trying to study too much. We're not practicing anything because we jump from person to person, from teacher to teacher. We already have everything written in. Matrix is not enough for us to discuss all that. There is more that I need to explain how we actually, I know what's written for me for the day. It's like a life journey. For each pattern I take, and my soul chooses the pattern for the day for my spiritual journey, not just working with love. I can turn the page. I can skip 15 years. I can skip a generation and find the answer because it's already written 500 years ahead that I've seen. I didn't go beyond 500 years. Life is not linear. That's already physics. He's giving me, like Da Vinci, he's giving me graphs, he's giving me information. At that level of acceptance, I take a lot in. I'm not genius. I'm just welcoming. He's asked if I can do this and I can do that. I'm protected. As long as I'm protected, I can take that breath, that spiritual breath. And here I am. I'm taking the proton that actually denies everything. At the level where I am, I become a flow with this genome if I need to be on genome, or a modem if I need to be on modem. I'm modemized, and my knowledge comes. It actually came with me on modems. So don't call me a genius, but a masterful person. People who changed the history. in an evolutionary going forward way came like I did, prepared.
It's like a Nostradamus, what you're saying, because, years ago, if people would say something, they would call that heresy, or they would call that something against what people really believe in. And even though, like Nostradamus wrote information about what is to come, what is happening. And so what you're saying when you mentioned, looking at something years down the road, what's to come, that you're prophesizing. You're saying that this could be possible.
What he did, and Father is giving me the answer immediately. I'm entitled to knowing. He worked off genome. So genome is like I marched 500 years ahead. That's and he's not, so that's the flow. Let's strictly say the flow, he says, because it's astrophysics more than anything else to explain genome. But I can explain in the future if he allows me. So Nostradamus was genome driven. That's the literature appropriate way of explaining this. It came easy to him because it is easy. But he's an essential soul. I'm saying is because the soul is still living. He's okay. I worked with the soul of Mozart, who's coming back. I have an entitlement to break my soul into a freedom pattern where I just float in kind of in a wonderful place where I can know a lot more. He was waking up the soul of Mozart with me. And I was allowed to participate so I could see his way of loving us before we come. So please forgive me for interrupting you. You wanted to say something, Sharon.
Oh, no, that's quite all right, because, this is so interesting that, there's certain people that are here who are geniuses that we label as geniuses, like Einstein, maybe Mozart, people who are so gifted. And we have so many people that are like this throughout history and today. So when people have these particular gifts, the connections you're saying with Matrix and, that they were gifted, they were a genome, does everyone have to have this, or can anyone experience it?
The proper term would be, yes, they're geniuses. And I have to acknowledge that. Okay. What's the pattern? Okay, I'll be honest. An atomic clock within a genius works very properly. The atomic clock in me works like there is no hell. It won't allow. Those people are monitored to deliver. There is no break in communication. There is nothing like that. It just flows. So speaking of a flow, but there are levels of flow. I mentioned the gates of quantum. That we need to talk about more, and that's the future. That's the bright part.
This is absolutely wonderful, wonderful information, Ella. Thank you so much. Is there anything that you'd like to add before we close today?
Well, invite me again. I'm thrilled to be a part of this wonderful organization, SunGates Center, that is very proactive and finding new ways of healing people and giving back to the society. I'm grateful.
Yes, and so thank you very much, Ella. Thank you to all our listeners. Thank you for being here. And please join us again, Ella. We'd love to have you back. And to everyone, have a beautiful, wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sharon.